Internet! Hello, you lovelies! We just watched episode 1 of season 3 of What If. You can check out my full reaction over at Real Rejects, but here I want to give my thoughts and review and my experience of the episode overall. As a lifelong die-hard comic book fan, I definitely thought it was interesting to make something that felt so purely What If. This, as a concept, was definitely more the direction I've been looking for of what I want the things to feel like. I want it to be the unfilmable, the absolutely broad, sometimes absurdist takes that I didn't think they were doing so much in the first season, and this was absolutely that. It certainly had its flaws. I'm going to talk about those here in a second, but if you're new to my page, I love comic books. I read about 50 to 70 comics a week, and I break them down for you, and I also do movie reviews and TV reviews like we are right here. So hit that subscription bell. I'd really appreciate it. Also, hit that like because I want to know you liked this video, and as I always say, most of all, I think it's amazing we live in an era where comic book stuff is so popular. So let's have a conversation in the comments below because I want to talk about these amazing comic books. So let's talk about them. All right, so season 3 of What If has a lot to do because it is the final season of What If, and though these stories aren't tied together, though these, universe implications aren't all that big, I do feel like it needs to wrap up some of the loose ends from season 1 and season 2 and make it feel like there is some sort of coherent arc in this show. So I am curious if we're going to have any sort of resolution. Like, you think of the first season as having a bit of an arc with the corrupt Sorcerer Supreme. The second season, we had the full-on every power ever amalgam fight by the end. I'm wondering if there's going to be like a three-act structure for season 3. The first episode was no indicator of that, especially with how broadly it connected our characters. It was interesting to see if this would have been our Avengers team had things not gone awry with the pandemic, with the writer's strike, with the Kang storyline falling apart. I'm really curious if this was kind of what they imagined. I know Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man weren't in it, but otherwise this did feel like a very formative Phase 4 Avengers team. It was great to have Shang-Chi back. It was really interesting to see Moon Knight interacting with an Avengers team, even though it felt like they were very conscious in him being like begrudgingly involved. He's not a team player, and that felt like some fun, cheeky dialogue. But overall, it was the team dynamic of leadership between Monica Rambeau and finally seeing Captain America Sam Wilson. That was the shining light for me. To see Cap fully formed after we've only seen him in Falcon Winter Soldier was really interesting. To see Monica Rambeau in that military position and in a commanding position co-leading Avengers was fascinating. So it's kind of an interesting what if in our universe of what if things hadn't gotten messed up, and what if these were our Avengers, and what if they still could be? What if, as we lead into Doomsday, we have this new Phase 4 era team? That's the what if I'm asking from this episode. And as far as the episode itself, like, there was plenty of cool concepts. It was great to have like a Voltron experience. It was great to have this Power Rangers anime Gundam Wing Mech Avengers situation, and to have Hulk go full Godzilla was certainly interesting. My biggest issue, though, two issues I had, were the 80s style animation they played around with in the beginning was really fun for establishing like a time frame. Like, what if the Avengers of the 80s evolved into the 2000s Avengers we see as the modern team? So we go from the classic Avengers to Cap and Thor and Iron Man, and we evolve it into, White Widow from Black Widow and Red Guardian and all these new characters. But the animation style itself in the 80s one was so much more interesting to look at to me. Just as a fan of hand-drawn animation, it was hard to transition out of that into the what-if style of animation. So that kind of hurt it because the nostalgia and the simpler style was so much more interesting visually. So then, 90% of the episode being in that new what-if style didn't really sing to me as much, especially having compared to what it could have been. So I'd love if these what-ifs were actually in different styles of animation. That said, one of the strengths of doing it the way they did was it allowed there to be a really wonderful palette of different animation mediums. I liked that the backgrounds were painted at times. There was that amazing shot of the scope of the two mechs and our captains sitting on top of them, and then the sunset behind them. That felt so big and powerful in anime, and I dug that. And I think that with the 80s style hand-drawn animation at the top, it allowed there to be multiple layers of animation in this and not feel too disjointed. So I did appreciate that element of it, but again, I wish What If was more daring in its animation and played around more. If you're in multiple universes, why can't things look different? And for just a moment, we got that, and I was really hoping that was the swing they took this season. I also thought, even though they had Falcon have therapy elements in Falcon and Winter Soldier on his way to Captain America, it was more Sebastian Stan going through therapy. So the connection between Bruce Banner and Anthony Mackie, that didn't feel as natural. I liked what they did as far as like storytelling, but if we'd had like 2 or 3 more minutes with them, I think it would have felt more natural. And I think that would be true of any of the pairs of characters in this. Like, I wish we had a few more minutes with each, because it felt very rushed, that we skipped over the Gamma War and we went right to like a narrated recap of the Gamma War into the next phase of something. And that did feel a little like messy and too fast. Now I get it, these are What If episodes, they're 30 minutes, but if this had been an hour-long animated MCU film with these characters, I think the mech suit idea and HULK-Zilla is well worth giving a couple more beats, a little bit more Moon Knight on the team, a little bit more of therapized Cap helping out Bruce Banner, a little bit more of them assembling. It did feel a little bit rushed to me, and this is me, I know, looking for specific issues, but I didn't feel like connected to these Avengers as much as I connected to my history with these actors playing these characters. It didn't feel like I was happy with the choices the characters made in the episode, because I didn't have time to really feel it. It all just felt like we were going through the motions till we got to the end. I did like the Mole Man vibe of what HULK-Zilla became. I did like the fights. They were big, they were impactful. I did like all the anime influence. I did like that it felt so Avengers worthy, and Avenger Assemble was so cheeky and great, and I love that we've already had Sam Wilson say Avenger Assemble. Yeah, I liked enough to say this was definitely worth existing. I definitely thought enough was like impactful. I'm like glad this exists. I'm glad people get to experience it. And it's closer to the comic books where there's some absurd thing where it's like, oh, what if this or that? Like, it does feel a bit bolder in its swings. So I'm gonna give it that credit. But overall, I wish we had more time in the medium of television to connect to these characters, to these actors, to these moments a bit more. So I wanna know what you guys thought. Other than the speed, it was fun, it was cool, it was badass, but it was a little haphazardly paced for me. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'm doing all of these episodes, so there might be some walking and talking and some sitting in a chair. I wanna know which one, format-wise, you guys dig more. Let me know in the comments below. You digging the walk and talk? Do you want me sitting? Let me know. But leave a like either way, because I wanna keep doing these. I'm doing the entire season of What If over this holiday. I hope you guys are having a great holiday. I'll be dropping one of these a day throughout this little holiday season. I live in LA, so the holidays are a bit warmer and a bit sunnier than most places. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of episode 1. Let me know what you thought of my theories about season 3. Leave a like in this video, and if you're not subscribed, hit that notification bell. Join me. 40K, we're around the corner. I'd appreciate it. All right, much love. No comic recs from this one. Apex is a name that's been referenced, but not really a specific thing. Moon Knight is not generally a team player, but he does dabble in New Avengers, so maybe my only comic rec would be some New Avengers, but that's more tangential. Yeah, nothing real specific on this one, at least for me, not off the dome. All right, much love. I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 2.